Yeah.
Hey, Mike, I was trying to register for the Dream for All program and I got to the registration. I couldn't even get further than just like logging in. What's going on?
Yeah, most likely you got your registration, you got your username and password, and now you're in the system. You can plug in your personal info, but then you have to upload the lender pre-approval letter, and they will not take a standard pre-approval letter. They will only take a pre-approval letter that they have issued, 𝗀𝗄𝗃 has issued to the participating lenders. And so it's a specific form they're only allowing the participating lenders to use for the buyers that are registering for the Dream for All program.
So what is 𝗀𝗃𝗃?
Yeah, so it's California Housing Finance Authority, and they're a state government run program. And ultimately, they have standard down payment assistance programs that are available on a day-to-day basis without any, registration portal or deadlines that you have to get in by a certain time. Those down payment assistance programs are generally only for 3 to 3.5% of the sales price, whereas this Dream for All is up to 20% of the sales price or $150,000.
Wow. Well, that is awesome. And another thing I heard about this program, there's a lottery system. What is that all about?
Yeah, so this registration portal that's open right now, that closes on April 29th at 5 p.m. California Standard Time.
Wait a minute. Wait.
So
That's next week.
next week on Monday at 5 p.m., you have to have completed the registration with the lender pre-approval uploaded and hit submit and finish. And then you get an automatic email that we've received your registration. Without that, the door is closed. But
Okay.
it doesn't end there because the registration is only to put your name on the list of all applicants that registered on time for the lottery. And what's going to happen is from the April 29th deadline, for the next few weeks, 𝗀𝗃𝗃 is going to audit the applications and make sure that everybody checked the boxes that keep them eligible for the program. If they did not, they will get a notice that they are not eligible and their name will be removed from the list. Everybody that is eligible will remain on a list, and then they're going to do what they're calling a random lottery to draw the names, and those are the names that will be notified that they have essentially won the lottery. And then when they have gotten that, what they're calling a voucher, which is an email saying you have been selected, from that day that they get that, they have 90 days or 3 months to go ahead and get a home in contract to buy. Doesn't have to be closed in 90 days, but by the end of 3 months, you need a ratified agreement, which means you've signed it and the seller signed it and escrow has opened. And if so, the award that you won on the lottery for the Dream for All will go towards the funding of your purchase.
Okay, wait a minute. This sounds too good to be true. Almost up to $150,000.
150.
150,000. What's the catch?
Yeah, so that question comes up a lot. Like, is this free? It's not free. But in a way, it is a gained equity asset for something that you contributed $0 for. And so the way in which it works is called shared appreciation. And a good example is trying to think through a scenario like a real purchase. So if somebody buys a home for 500,000 and got 20% down payment assistance through this program, that's $100,000. They will always owe that $100,000 back to the 𝗀𝗃𝗃 fund. But in addition to the 100,000, they will also owe 20% of the value appreciation from the purchase price of 500K to the final value when they sell the property, whatever that is. They will take 20% of that gain, and then the homeowner will keep 80% of that gain. And so that's why I mentioned a moment ago, it costs them quote unquote money, which is that 20%, but it was 20% of something that was zero at one point. And so they still walk with an 80-20 split with the 𝗀𝗃𝗃 fund.
Yeah, that sounds really good. Is there something else I need to know about this program? Like, is there another way that I may or may not qualify for it?
They're really restrictive on this program. The number one criteria is there are income limits for every county, but those are pretty generous. Upwards of 200,000 in the immediate Bay Area, in the hundreds of thousands of dollars per year throughout the Bay Area, Northern California and Southern California. But really, the biggest restriction, at least that I'm seeing on my end, with people who should be eligible for first time home buyer loans are ones that don't meet the first generation home buyer, which is a term that they're using on this program. And what that means is your mom and dad cannot own a home now, and they cannot have owned a home in the last 7 years. If your parents have owned a home in the last 7 years or own now, you are out of the applicant pool that's eligible because you're not considered a first generation home buyer.
Wow, wow, wow. That's a big got you there.
It is a big got you. There's one maybe saving grace, which is if you're in a relationship, if you're married or you have a partner and you're buying to live together, because this is for a primary occupancy loan,
Okay.
as long as one of you meets the definition of a first time home buyer and a first generation home buyer, you become eligible again. So if you and I, Suzette, are buying a home and we're living together and my parents own a home and yours don't, we can be eligible. Whereas if both our parents own, no. Even if you and I have never owned, if mom or dad owns a home, we are falling out of the applicant pool. But if that happens, you're still going to be eligible for the regular down payment assistance programs. It only negates this Dream for All program.
Okay, so that's good to know. For one, okay, if you want to buy a house with a partner, you need to make sure that they're worth $150,000 potentially in that relationship.
Oh,
But
yeah.
the other thing is that there are other programs out there, folks, and we're going to get to some of it a little bit later. I do want to, share with you a little bit of a challenge. We talked about that, as far as if you have a parent that have owned the property within the last 7 years,
Yes.
then you may not be eligible for this program unless you're purchasing with someone else that does not have that family legacy. But then after you have gotten your pre-approval letter, you've gotten your certificate from the lottery selection, then you have 90 days to get into contract. So that means that you need to be, if you can be approved for this loan, that means that you need to be working with a lender right now, also a realtor right now, because it is competitive. So we want to make sure that you're successful. And then also, it closes on the 29th. So folks, get out there, get your loan approval, and get registered. And if you have any questions about this program, put your comments in below. Michael's ready to answer any questions from the lending side. He's available right now, so don't wait.
That's right. And what I've been telling people for the past couple months and this month and now the past couple weeks and today is that probably unless you have a very, very simple kind of cookie cutter scenario, which we most likely, if we had all the information needed by the end of this coming weekend, we can still get an approval out Monday, early enough for you to register. But if there's anything tricky or you don't have your paperwork together, we're going to really need that probably by Wednesday or Thursday of this week to have enough time to process and underwrite the loan, because they do require it to be an underwritten loan in order to register.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Michael, for coming on, and hopefully you got a lot of information from this. So remember, call us today so you can get that application going.
That's right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.